Okay, so today we're going to look at a random KGS game, 2 and 3 down playing. I came across it and thought there was a lot of good stuff to look at. So here we go. 2 and 3 down, KGS, standard stuff. Black does not follow the pattern he plays here. He plays center instead of side. It's questionable, but let's
Lance,
take a look.
sorry, one thing. When white approaches, I'm always wary of that move because I think that if black drops down, for example, at 03, then black's getting a large corner. Is that a valid move for black?
Um, I don't know. My concern is that there's still oddgy in
Yeah,
here.
sure. Yeah.
There's kind of a bit of room, especially if white approaches, if the black going to defend again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't play it because I'm very unsure about my corner. AlphaGo plays this way, and then we have a long sequence. I haven't studied them all. Um, but secondly, the idea of, oh, I'm going to focus in the corner, you get everything else. That's, we don't, generally we like to play on both sides and have a whole board approach.
Yeah.
So this is the move. It's a bit funny because perhaps if it looked this way, okay, now there's a reason to play center because we're prepared to develop the center. But with his move, we're not prepared. So it's doesn't seem right to me. But that's not the point of this. Ready?
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Okay. We play this way. Um, Seems clear. Another option is here, but now we're not dealing with the bottom. This seems to deal with the right and the bottom. All straightforward. Now we don't fix because those 3 black stones are really uncomfortable. The bottom white ones are, but anyway, black plays the Satari, which I think is very correct. And white cuts. We haven't come to any point yet. Okay, so here's the first point that I found interesting. First, we recognize that we're at a stopping point in the Joseki. Black is settled, white is settled. That means we can assess the corner. Is someone ahead? So I don't think a lot of cue players have any idea how to assess a corner. So that's what we're going to look at. Okay. So for starters, black played first, and then black played second also. So black's 2 moves ahead here. So I had to think, okay, how do we get a handle on this? So from here, now black's a move ahead. Black plays first, and white plays last. So black is 1 stone, has invested 1 extra move in the area. Yeah, that was a little confusing. Does it make sense?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Now, since black has invested 1 more stone here, black should be approximately 8 points ahead. So let's talk about why that is. A lot of people haven't thought this through, so we're going to think it through. Idea number 1, all these moves are, let's use the word equal, of same value. Sound good, George?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. How do we count this? I wouldn't bother. It's influence. It's not points. So how do we judge its value? Well, since they're all equal, and we can one, then they're all worth this. All the 3-3 does is take corner profit. That's all it does. Very bad for the outside. So let's count it. 2, 4, 6, 8 points. Corner, a stone in the corner, any stone in the corner, it's worth 8 points. Does this make sense so far?
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, let's look at this one. Worth 8 points. If it was worth less than 8, then everyone would be playing this. Everyone would be playing the 3-3 instead of this, because 3-3 is bigger. No, they're all the same, so this is worth 8. Now let's increase that idea by 1. 2 stones should then be worth 16. And sure enough, this is this one and A15. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16. 2 stones worth 16. 3 stones worth 24. You count them up, all these, all these, all of these, 24. So 1 stone in the corner is worth 8, 2 is 16, 3 is 24. Beyond that, I've never bothered any sort of counting. Okay, back to our question. So black should have 8 more points than white. How many does white have? And this is a little difficult. Let's take a look. The capture is worth 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's our starting count, 6. Well, what about, is this Sente? Well, if black doesn't respond, then this is Sente, because there's a weakness there. So let's say that this is Sente. Then there's more there for white. On the other hand, is this Sente for black? Because if white doesn't respond, white's down to 1 eye in co. White's group is behind enemy lines and doesn't really have any eyes. I mean, it's right. Black can play here. Now, black's not ready to play there, but the point is there's some questions about how to deal with this corner. So what do? Well, it might be Sente for white. It might be Sente for black. We're calling that a wash. So white has 2, 4, 6 points. Black should have 6 and 8, 14. Let's count them. I'll use the squares. Black is thin here. Well, if white takes, so we're assuming there's a black stone at S4, saying that white got that in Sente. So that being the case, 2 points per thickness. We've gone over that before. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. This is thick too, 18. So black appears to be having more points than white. Not just that, the black stones are radiating to the right, the top, to the left, while the white stones are not radiating at all. So black has more points and more position. The point being, black, we're saying that black, this Joseki, which is not equal, is better for black. That was a long, complex monologue. George, did it make some sense?
It made sense, yeah. Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. So you can use this, how to assess a corner, and you should get in the habit of that. One other corner, let's look at this corner. This is the simplest Joseki on the books. Let's assess it. White has, let's say, 6 points. Black has 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 points. Well, then how can we say this is equal if 2 black, 2 white, and black has more? Because it's a specialty Joseki. We do that when white's uncomfortable getting pinched. Oh, there's a lot of black stones. I don't want to get pinched here. So what I'm going to do is give myself more room. Point being that if we play regular, we're sure that black is going to get extra points here. He's so ready to take points on the bottom. So why don't we give him points ahead of time in the corner, and now we're not worried about our group anymore. Another convoluted monologue. Hopefully it made sense. Did it?
It did. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is convoluted because these are very detailed ideas, which is why Q players tend to not go there. You know, in the old days, when there's a fellow and myself we were 5 Q together, we were 1 Dan together, we were 5 Dan together, we were 6 Dan together. And when we got to 1 Dan, we went through every detail like this: how to count in game, how to do this, how do you decide that. Just hours upon hours upon hours. Okay, so we got to here saying that black is looking ahead. He's ahead. Now I'm going to pass just to get rid of these marks. And it's black to play. And the question arises, should black be playing on the right or in the unfinished corner? Well, can black take the whole thing in one move on the right? No. Next question. Can black make the right difficult for white? Now, black played here. Is the right now difficult for white to play in? If so, an area of that size where it's hard for white, that's a huge advantage. So yes, should play here. What about this move? Oh, this is significantly easier. White is far from the wall. Here, closer to the wall, harder. What about third line? Now it's undoable, so he's going to switch and perhaps do a shoulder hit. That's a fine idea too. So stretch and third or fourth line both make it difficult for white on the right. More convoluted stuff. Hopefully it made some sense. Next question, should white enter now or later? Well, if black can take it in one move, too big, massively large. So that's we'll see if that's true. Is white prepared to live on the right? Well, I hate to say he can't, but really hard, right? Really hard. Really hard. So white says, I better come in now. Seems to be reasonable. The actual answer to all these things are beyond me, and professionals have a hard time, especially when they're playing AlphaGo. So it's all very difficult, and we know this. Okay, white comes in. Obvious spot. Kick. And now white has a question. If I play regular, that is a committed group that he's going to be able to attack and chase. That's difficult, which it is in this case. We should play it lightly. I'm out much faster. It leaves this weakness, but we could care less if black crawls on the second line. Our position's getting stronger every move. So If things are difficult, don't play heavy. If things are easier, make a regular group. Because the regular group means, oh, now there's that underneath move, things I can do. But if it's hard, you better jump.
And how
He
about
made a heavy
the,
group,
the, the knight's move jump? You see quite often strong players play it
like
P12.
this.
Yeah.
Um, Nice and light. Uh, can white continue lightly? So, for instance, if it's this way, that's pretty heavy.
Mm.
Well, what if it's jump out? Well, we're getting the whole right.
Mm.
So that means here, there's just so it doesn't seem to be working in this
Yeah.
case. It tends to be a corner move that we see that in.
Mm.
Okay,
So
blacks
so
seems very appropriate.
Q11 is a mistake, I imagine, right? There's no need to play such a heavy move.
Right,
Yeah.
seems too heavy in this
Yeah.
case. Um, let's check it out though. Notice white can't get to the corner or the side or the other side. There's only one option for health. So white can get out, but black is developing area 1, area 2. What's white developing? Nothing whatsoever. So
Yeah.
it's difficult, which means black's getting some good profit. The other way, easier, black would get less profit. And that's a standard principle in Go. Up.
I imagine that the cap could have been a good possibility as well. At O11.
That's a great question. Let's start with the A-B exchange. Is A developing any sort of profit? No. Is B? Yeah, the top looks like it's coming along. Is the top practical? I wouldn't want to say that, but it sure is better than A. And we'll deal with the cap in a minute. So we're seeing that black, just that one black-white exchange, black's getting profit. White, black, again, black's top is getting very nice and white has nothing out of the situation. This again is to show you don't want uncomfortable groups. Big deal in Go. Okay, should white come out again? This is a question that plagued me for years, and when it was forward on before I finally got a handle on it, and that's one of the things that took me to fight on. Back then, no one knew. No one knew anything about gauze. Forward on and incredibly weak. I could just fight well. That's all. Okay, so how do we know if white should jump out again? The answer is does black surrounding, are we feeling bad? Yeah, we're feeling bad. Then white should be coming out. Now let's ask black the same question. Should black be coming out? Well, does this make black feel bad? His group, not in the slightest. Black's group has not taken a hit. We might think it's big, but it's not something that bothers our groups. So white needs to come out. White doesn't come out. That's a problem. A lot of people don't learn this till 3 or 4 dawn. I didn't. It's like, oh, the top's getting big. I'll be able to survive. But what you don't realize is this takes away all black's free moves. And now, let's assume black plays here. Look at the left. Oh my God, where'd that come from? White's prepared in the center, on the left, in the corner. This is wonderful for white. So defense is surprisingly big. Okay. Next, assuming white's going to play away, where? Well, let's take a look at, this is not a good move, but we're going to look at it for the sake of the situation. Let's say black says, "You fool, I take the whole corner." Well, it's not the whole corner. White will be able to live in there. So we're not afraid of this black move. What about a big moyo? Oh gosh, we can come in this way. We can come in so many different ways. Well, what about this move? That's too small. So there's no concern about black's next move, so we can play where we want. If we're concerned about the top, I generally start with where do I want my second move? That lets me know where my first move should be. I like that spot as my second move. So my first move is going to be here. If black plays this way, fine with me. That 3-3 is wide open, and I'm getting a nice top area. Does that make sense, George? That second move idea?
Yeah. Nice concept. Yeah.
Now, in my head, I can't go, okay, I'm going to put it here. I can't do that. I have to put this in my head, go, okay, now where's the first stone go? If I don't do that, I can't find I can't find it. I always have to start with the second move. It's a strange thing in my head. Here, no reason. Now white gets pounced on.
And I guess black's primary aim here is just to gain center, to come back and attack that group in the middle. That's what should be on black's mind now, I guess, right?
That's a good question. There's a few answers. The answer I would want to start giving is no. Why wouldn't black be waiting to attack that group? Because, first of all, it's white's move. He can't. Now that it is his move, well, no, we're not going to attack that group. We have other things to do first. We can't plan on it because we have no idea what the board's going to be looking like when the time comes. So one thing at a time. Love that principle. One thing at a time.
My feeling is that because white is in a sea of black stones, the outcome is almost certainly going to be that black's going to come away with Sente because of having this extra support.
Yes, I agree. And at that point, we may or may not decide to attack the group.
Okay. Yeah.
We are definitely going, oh, white's weak. That this is in our sights, but we don't know when or how.
Yeah,
because we're not there yet.
This reminds me of some time ago when you were trying to get me to get rid of any strategical thinking and just trying to concentrate on the real basics, and it being surprisingly difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, black plays corner first. Good for points, good for attack. This next move, interesting. Black can play A or B. People don't understand how big A is. So we're going to count it. And let's put a settled group here, and then we'll have black play here. Okay. Black just created these for sure, and if white turned at R18, black wouldn't get this. Black wouldn't get this. And there's some question, well, black would get the next one. So black's creating 4. If white haunted, white would be creating at least this much. And now we have the monkey jump, so white doesn't get any of these. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. This is 15 points. And in this case, if we ask, do we have the right to be aggressive, because this is an aggressive move, leaving a weakness behind? Oh yeah, we have every right. We're strong, he's weak all over. Yeah, so this is a huge move. People don't grasp how big it is. Really, really big. Okay. White comes up. Black now has a choice. White didn't get out. What was white thinking? Not getting out, not stabilizing. Is there some special thing coming up? No. I mean, black should be able to fight here. Should black fight here? Well, if black plays just the defense, black's ahead on points, black's ahead on position, and white has weak groups. There's absolutely no reason to go in a weak direction, stretching to kill something when you're already ahead and you don't need to do it. Zero risk, and you're winning, rather than taking a risk and winning big. No. Black's ahead, no need. Okay. We have a moment to breathe. Black doesn't need to defend. White just defended. Black to play. There's absolutely no reason to not to come after white's group. So yeah, time for George's move. Can be A or B. A's quite severe. And it doesn't seem to me to be time to be severe, but I could be wrong about that. White has moves like contact plays, there's Aja here and there. So I don't know. It's above my pay grade. I would just do the cap at B. But let's look at what it means. There's two ways white can go out. Let's start with this one. Chase with the knight's move. White gets out. Surround. Cut. Connect. It's a normal pattern. Was it worthwhile? Yeah. A brand new white group to chase. Now let's let white live here. All right, we're doing a living thing. Let's assume this lived. Great, then we have a new weak white group. This pattern comes up all the time. One weak group leads to the next one. Now, I'll tell you, after doing this thousands upon thousands of times, yes, that's true, what the end result is that the A group's going to die. That's the most common. So one fight's going to lead to another. Black's going to end up with a position here. Happens all the time. Now, I'm making up stones, that's granted. But it's going to end up looking this way. And then all of a sudden, white has no eyes in a sea of black. Along with all the peeps, and black is settled everywhere. So one weak group leads to another, and the group that everyone thought, oh, that's the safe group, that's the one that usually dies. It's really, I've done it so many times. Okay, but black plays this way. Now, check this out. That white group can get out, and it already has a base. What about that black stone? Well, actually, the A stone is weaker than the B and C. Black is creating a weak group rather than attacking a weak group. Now these are 2 or 3 dons. Now this, to me, this shows what the levels are about. These 2 and 3 dons are doing Tsujis and Josekis and fighting this way and fighting that way, and it's kind of all making sense. They're doing a reasonable job, but they're missing the fundamentals, and those fundamentals is what takes you to the 4 dan on up. So, or you can just skip all that. I skipped 2 and 3 dan. I went from 1 to 4 dan, thinking, I'll just cut out a couple years and just start playing strong. I did it in the middle of a tournament, going, okay, I'll start now.
So the problem is with this black play is that black hasn't prepared himself for that attack, right? Because the cap is a split, sets up a splitting attack, which enables us to to gain strength in order to come back and then properly attack.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go forward a little bit. We're starting to see the white group's looking good and the black stones are not. Since the black stones aren't looking so good, I'd want to move like A for like shape. He plays kind of heavy. That's a heavy. I would not trust that. White gets out.
And you can see now that the progress white is making is helping that group that needed attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So white's about to get cut at A, and he's going to defend himself. White does it this way. That fixes the cut. But let's see where white just created this little wall, which faces this direction. Let's look at the other way. This also fixes the cut, and it runs away from my other weak group. So this one, as we run and black splits, I'll make that the squares, black is splitting, and as he splits, he's surrounding the group on the right. So it's white's running with the wrong direction. That's the direction you want to go in.
I don't quite get the line that you made of the triangle points there.
Yeah. So here we have a wall, and it's facing the right. It's not facing this direction, but rather it's facing this direction.
Yeah.
Okay. This wall, let's do this one more time. So we just looked at that wall facing the right. This one also faces the right. It's this wall rather than this wall, but still they both face the right. Okay? But now we have this wall faces down rather than to the right. Now, whether it looks like that or that or that, they all face down, not to the right. Now it faces the right, faces the right, faces the right, faces the right. So in the game, come on. White's running out. So here we have, you see the 3-stone wall.
Yeah.
It's facing this way. See the angle it produces?
Yeah.
It's not exactly facing this way. It's facing kind of in a diagonal. Now, of course, I'm adding stones here and there in order to draw the picture a little better. Does the picture make some sense?
It does. Yeah, no, it does. Thank you.
So this runs more in a diagonal away from the weak group, and his move runs towards the weak group. Okay. Black to play. He splits for the attack. What should he do? He's got a weak group. He should defend his weak group in Sente. That's a massively large move. White's looking strangled, and black's weak group is becoming stronger. So again, one thing at a time. If white says, "Oh, you fool," well, first of all, you're still cut. And now I can, kill you or whatever, whatever I decide to do. So white's in a real pickle now. Black comes out. And we're seeing white's having a hard time here. There's a big question. Can black cut successfully? Oh, it is so aggressive, and yet black is looking rather prepared. That's a really hard question to answer. I would say don't do either, just defend. But all the same, black comes out. Honey, okay. Notice the black's trying to attack the top group that's virtually alive. Okay, so we've looked at a lot of details. And the whole point is calm down, do one thing at a time, take care of your weak groups. And we looked at how to assess corners. Now, as I recall, there was one other thing I wanted to look at. I don't remember what it was. We'll just kind of go through the fight here. Big struggle. Black's being so aggressive, but white already has an eye and can get another one, so it's a waste of time. We won't look at all the details here. A lot of mistakes. But white's living. More and more mistakes here. Now black's dying. Can't get out. Well, that creates a kill. That's kind of smart. And black connects through with the monkey jump. The funny thing about this reverse monkey jump, this one doesn't connect, while the others do. It's a funny little thing to read out. Now, there was something here. I'm going to go through quickly. We're not looking, try not to look at details here. Look how weak black's group is on the upper left. Massive fights. Okay, maybe that was it then. Okay. This recording was rather detailed, so I'd put it at 1 down on up, maybe 1Q. Try to make some sense of it. And I think that's it. Any last questions, George?
No? Wonderful. Thank you, Lance.
Okay, good. Thanks, everybody. Bye for now.